The peace agreement that binds together Bosnia Herzegovina is under growing threat. We have a special report tonight on a part of Europe that experienced immense suffering during the conflict of the 1990s. Bosnia was devastated during that war, which followed the disintegration of the state of Yugoslavia. Tens of thousands of people were killed. Hundreds of thousands were driven from their homes in a process of ethnic cleansing, and rape was widely used as a weapon of war. An international deal ended the fighting in 1995, but the tensions have continued. Now, the Dayton Accords split Bosnia into two regions, the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Bosnian Serb Republic. Since then, during years of economic stagnation, corruption and political turmoil, leaders on all sides have used the divisions of the past to cling to power. But now the Bosnian Serb leader, Milorad Dodik, is threatening to break up the state, denying well-established evidence that his side committed genocide during the war of the 1990s. The BBC's Jeremy Bowen reported on the Bosnian War, and in this extended report he's returned to see how the present is still haunted by the past.
The war left open wounds on every side in Bosnia. Srebrenica's genocide is the deepest. More than 8,000 men and boys, Bosniak Muslims, were massacred in a few days in July 1995 by Serb soldiers. On her 73rd birthday, Mejra Jogas went to the graves of her sons Omer and Munib in the cemetery where more than 6,000 of the genocide's victims are buried. Mrs. Jogas says she wants reconciliation, but the local Serbs scare her.
They make a lot of noise. They want to provoke fear. Sometimes I'm afraid to spend the night in my house, but I have to. I have nowhere else to go.
Most of the world accepts genocide happened here, but Srebrenica is in Republika Srpska, where denial of that genocide is in the political mainstream. In 1995, Dutch UN troops could not protect terrified Bosniak civilians who'd crowded into these concrete sheds at their base. They stood aside as Serb forces separated the men and the boys from the women and took them away to kill them. The genocide in Srebrenica was also the culmination of a catastrophic failure by the outside world to stop the war, to end the killing in Bosnia. And you can understand, if you come to a place like this, why people are nervous again about the prospects of those old forces of nationalism and ethnic hatred being weaponized by unscrupulous politicians. This is Milorad Dodik, the Bosnian Serb leader. In January, he led a parade through Banja Luka, his capital. He's talking about turning these paramilitary police into a Bosnian Serb army. It's part of a series of threats Dodik has made to separate from the rest of Bosnia since he rejected a new law banning genocide denial. In Bosnia, many people suspect leaders of all sides play on fears of new violence to secure their own power. That's dangerous in a fragile country where war leaders are still heroes. Serb nationalists venerate General Ratko Mladic, now serving life for genocide. Dodik wouldn't meet the BBC, so we spoke to disabled Serb war veterans in Banja Luka. They wanted reconciliation. For them, that means acceptance that they were also victims, unfairly condemned for fighting for their families and their old commander.
Ratko
Mladic is sentenced. He's in jail, but he is still our hero. I don't understand why they can't just accept this. They say it's only Serbs who committed genocide in this country, no one else. It's only the Serbs who are killing people. We are not that kind of people.
If politicians fail to get an agreement, it will be ordinary people again who will feel the pain. And if a war does happen, the people will never come back from it. We didn't come back from the last one.
Bosnia's economy never recovered, and every piece of war damage connects to someone's nightmare. Shrapnel hit these homes in besieged Sarajevo on a snowy Saturday in 1994, after a brief ceasefire tempted children out to play. I arrived after shells from the Serb side killed 6 of them.
The children were killed at about 1:30 on a housing estate less than a mile from the front line.
The past holds the present hostage, not just the survivors who bear physical scars, but a country's mental trauma. One positive, today's parents don't want to put their children through a repeat of their own suffering. Every anniversary, they commemorate the children who were killed in the snow. It's never easy. This year, the talk of new violence made it worse. Esad Subasic's 7-year-old son, Admir, died in his arms.
Now Dodik claims there was no genocide. None of it happened. That should stop. They should put in sanctions. He's trying to fool the entire world.
Half of Bosnia has moved out, no matter if they are Bosniak, Croat or Serb. Everything's empty. And not just because of money. It's injustice, unfairness.
Young people on all sides in Bosnia want more than graves and memories. Their leaders have failed to create a better present and future. Sinking back into the past should be unthinkable. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Sarajevo.